an underrated interview, maybe somebody that you did multiple times, had conversations with. So it can't be a Tiger, it can't be a LeBron or something like that, but somebody
Patrick Beverley.
I remember that one actually.
He's
Or you've probably done it many times, but I remember one of them specifically after he got his deal.
out the mud. That's how I started it. Came out the mud. Like that's the saying, right? If you come from circumstances, rise above the circumstances that might have kept you down. I mean, this man went around the world to play the game, and he was supposed to go on with Simmons, but he drove down to Los Angeles to our studio to do our show, and we're like 7 minutes in, which for a TV show, like that's a pretty sizable chunk. And I tried to say goodbye, and he's like, well, hold on. He's like, I didn't drive down out the hills to talk to you. He's like, what else you want to talk? I'm like, well, I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? And what strikes me about him, and I'd say it about you as well, Duncan, that it's a compliment. A lot of athletes aren't interested in anyone but themselves. And that's easy to be when everyone orbits around you. He asks questions of me about me and my family, and I think he's legitimately interested. And that's just a good way to be, like to understand that you're not the only people on earth, the guys between the lines, or the guys everyone is paying attention to. So he's engaged on a human level. He's entertaining as hell, and he's Mr. 94 feet. Like that's who he is all the time. And he's been on with us on a number of occasions, and I look forward to a chance. I hope where we're in the same place at the same time, and we could sit down over a meal, which I assume would last for 6 or 7 hours until he had been exhausted whatever he was interested in. But like Patrick Beverley, is he a superstar? Maybe not. But like very few people that we have had on the show have I walked away from shaking my head and thinking, man, that guy was awesome, and he was.
You bring up a super interesting point that I've actually also kind of seen firsthand. As athletes, so many of our conversations are questions directed towards us. And it's not just in media, but really particularly throughout our day. In that if you run into somebody, the first thing is they're curious about you and they want to ask about you. And there's a propensity to get caught up in that to the point where if you don't actively try to flip that switch on and be engaging and converse outwardly, there's certainly, you can fall into that trap of just all of a sudden everything is just about you all the time.
But I don't think it's a trap. I think it's how your worlds are constructed. Like everything is very engineered so that's all you ever have to think about, right? You got to think about getting shots up, making shots, doing your job, winning games, and everybody wants to talk to you about that. But like, there's a whole world around you that doesn't have anything to do with any of that. And if you're not looking into it to try to be a citizen beyond that, like I don't fault people for it, but I respect them. I respect the athletes I meet who I think recognize that and are trying to be part of something beyond just their little the arena, so to speak.
Yeah, I would say it's just a trap in the sense that if you're staying in there, you're missing out on a whole lot. Like there's so much to engage with outwardly that it's like to think that anybody that they have the self-importance that it's like everything is about them is problematic. But I hear you. That's awesome to hear about Patrick.